Friends, as we know what is mean by the ensemble learning, and in the practical part of the previous lecture, that was the practical part of the implementation of the ensemble learning, we have already implemented without wasting much time. But what we have done in the previous part, as we know, there are the three different techniques in the ensemble learning. One is a maximum voting, next one is a sequential ensemble learning, other one is a parallel sequential learning. So in terms of the our stacking, we have seen the maximum voting that is used to implement the voting classifier. So we have used the or we have implemented voting classifier under the ensemble learning. Next, we have the two important one is a random forest, other one is a add a boost. So respectively, we have the these things we have in the parallel sequential and parallel ensemble learning and then sequential ensemble learning. So our aim is to implement the random forest classifier and AdaBoost classifier today, and we will compare AdaBoost and random forest classifier with the other existing classifier as we have seen. What are those? If you remember, logic regression, decentric classifier, support vector machine, and KNN. So we will compare our the AdaBoost and random forest classifier with these models to in terms of the accuracy. So let me execute all the steps here by step, so you will able to see. And what you will see here, I'm using the 10,000 data. Please keep in mind, I am using the 10,000 use data, so I will get the accuracy in better terms compared to the lower data. So when I'm using the lower data, so I'm getting the accuracy not justifiable. We can say not justifiable, but here I'm having the 10,000 data, not 1,000 data. I'm talking about the 10,000 data. So based on the 10,000 data, I can easily know what is the happening over there. So we are creating the random forest classifier in the random machine learning. And random forest, as we know, what is the random forest? A random forest is a classifier model which is the combination of which is aggregating by the various decision tree. So we are importing the pandas libraries to make the data frame. So we have to use, so what we have to do, we have to use or we have to import some libraries, and those libraries are recommended to the simple way pandas library. Panda is a libraries by which we can create the data set in terms of the data frame, because we can perform many operations on the data frame only. So that's why we are importing the pandas library to make the data frame. We are also using the data set which is consisted by the three important features, that is the height, weight, and gender. So this database is this data set is more important, which contain the two predictive information. One is the height and weight, other one is the gender. So we are using the huge volume of data set, that is a 10,000 data we are using. So I'm using the .csv formatted file, that is following by the weight height .csv. So it contains some details in terms of the height, weight, and gender. So based on the height and weight, we can predict the gender. Based on the height and gender, we can determine the weight. We can predict the height based on the weight and gender. But technically, we know we can determine the gender based on the height and weight. This is nominal thing in terms of the biomedicals. We can make the any two columns as a our independent variable. Undoubtedly, you can choose. Technically your program will run, but in terms of the biomedical terms, height and weights are the two important feature by which you can define the gender. So that's why gender will contain two parts, one is a male and female only, so by which we can easily understand what is the thing we have to understand. So I'm printing the my data set, that is a ds. So ds is the name of the variable which contain the entire data set information. So pd dot read csv, I'm using the method, so in which contain the my entire data set. So data set is ds is the name of the my variable which contain the entire data set in terms of the data frame, because I'm using this formatted .csv format file into the form of the data set, and this data set is transformed into the data frame. So ds is the name of the variable which contain the data frame based information, starting from the index 0th row to 999 row. It means 10,000 data we have. But in such huge data set, there's no guarantee every time we can have the complete data set. There's no guarantee. So what is the method by which we can do? We can check our method. We can use the drop any method to remove the unnecessary rows which contain the null values. So this is another way by which we can do. So there is no guarantee every time we can have the use volume of data, which is a perfect data, which is a complete data. So 10,000 row and 3 columns you can easily see observe over here. And what are the columns? We have the what are the this variable is saying to us columns. Columns is the name of the variable by which we can display the number of the columns or number of the attributes inside our data set. So let me show the my proof. Yes, now we can see. So gender is our first attribute, height is our next attribute, or weight is the next attribute, or we can say this is our next feature. Gender is a one feature, height is a one feature, and weight is another feature. So now we are choosing the simple method by which we can easily know based on the height and weight we can determine the gender, because gender feature or gender column will contain only the two parts or two properties, that is a male and female. So this would be our dependent variable, or this would be our target variable, and while other would be the independent variable. So there are various methods I have already written into a different way. So I'm choosing the different method over here, but it is also having the same sense. Rather than passing the height and weight column, I'm just storing these information into a variable, and I need to pass the variable. So that is okay. So it is just a simple way by which you can do. Either you can pass the direct height and weight rather than the passing a indi variable. Indi variable means independent variable. So x will be the ever independent variable which keeps the information in terms of the height and weight. Next we have the gender. So I'm using the gender. So if you do not want to use this method, then you can use the ds inside the bracket. You can pass the gender, or you can put the ds dot gender. So when we have to store a single attribute or single column information, then we can use the dot operator. Else, if we want to use the multiple, then we have to put all the detail inside the bracket. So these are the only various way by which you can do. So I have already written other way on the above part, so you can see. So let me copy all the data into the height, into the x and y respectively, height and weight and gender. So I've copied over here, as we have done these things many times. Now I'm printing the x over here. So printing the x value, how many x will contain. So and what is the size of the x. So let me execute this code in front of you. So if I'm printing the x of what it will contain the height and weight, as we have done, as we have copied into our previous variable, that is a independent variable, and which is just copied into the data into the all the values into the x. So x will contain the height and weight only. And shape, it is determining the shape 10,000. It means 10,000 data we have in two columns. So now you can see it is also written into the 10,000 rows and two columns. Same I'm happening with the by. So you can observe over here by I'm printing. So now you can see 10,000 is coming over here. It means 10,000 data we have, 10,000 rows we have, but this would be contain the one row. So no need to display over here one only, but it is assuming that we are having the at least one column. So we are getting all this thing properly. Yes, tell me right now. Any problem you have so far? We are doing the step that is known as the preparation of the data set. So now we are preparing the data set. Now it is clear, or anyone who need to ask any questions, so please you can ask me right now. Yes, tell me. Anyone who need to ask any question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, that's great. This is the big point you have to keep in mind while implementing the any model while choosing the huge volume of data set or real data set. Here we are dealing with a 10,000 data set or 10,000 information based data set. There is a guarantee our data set is perfect. Is it a guarantee? No. So we will use the drop in method to check if there is a null value is containing, so we can drop the such rows. So after removing such rows, we can easily check what is the size of the updated data set. So ds1 is the name of the variable which will keep the data, which is keep the data of the removed or after removing the null values based rows. So we can see observer ds1 dot shape. So I'm printing these things. If it is printing the 10,000, it means there is no null values we have. So let me show them my proof. So it is printing the 10,000 only. So what it's saying to us, it means our data set, whatever we have used or whatever we are using, that does not contain any null values in the rows or columns. That's why we have this thing. So it means our data set is perfect so far. So what is the things we have done so far? We have prepared our data set without any null values. Why? Because it does not contain any null values, and we have checked by using the drop and method. So we have to it means we can say we have the complete data set or perfect data set right now. So our next step is to split our data set into two beautiful parts. One is our training data set and testing data set. So of course, using the model selection libraries from the sklearn package, and I have to use the important class, that is a train underscore test underscore split method. So by choosing this method, we need to pass the x and y, and x and y will be the part of our data set. So we have already copied this information, height and weight and gender. So here we can pass. So before moving to the next step, just let me know right now what should be the size of the testing I must keep right now. Can anyone tell me right now what is the size I must keep of the testing data set? 37 it was taken previously, but if you want to update, so please you can update. Can anyone tell me right now what is the size of the testing I must keep right now? Whatever size you want to give, you can use. Yes, tell me.
Sir, 0.4.
0.4, it means you want to looking for the 40%. So I can write over here 40%. So if a 10,000 data set we have, and I'm using the testing data set as a 40%, so it means 4,000 rows or 4,000 random rows will be the part of the my testing data set. So that is the point. So by choosing this next step, if we need to know the size of the training and testing data set, so we can use. So we can also see this point right now. So after executing or after splitting this information, after a couple of the second, you can easily see, observe here, 10,000 we have an entire data set. So training data would be the 6,000, testing data set would be the 4,000, because we have chosen the 40%. Now it is visible. Now it is visible to all right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So now it's time to implement the random forest. So after preparing the data set and splitting our data set into two parts, training and testing data set, so it's time to implement the random forest. And random forest is the part of the ensemble learning. So we have to use the ensemble library as we have used a voting classifier program. So from the sklearn package, we have to import the ensemble libraries, and here we have to use the random forest classifier. So now we are creating the object of the classifier, this classifier, random forest classifier, but it's some parameter. And what are the parameters? So you can see RFC is the name of the variable, that is RFC is a random forest classifier, that is the name of the variable. So random forest classifier, where I have to use this class, and here I have to prepare or I have to create its object name, that is the RFC name of the our object of the our random forest classifier class. But before creating its object, we have to pass some parameters, so we can pass. So number of the estimator means we are passing the total number of the dysentery. This is a big point. What is mean by the total number of the dysentery? Yes, of course. What would be the base model here? What would be the base model here for for the random forest? So random forest is a collection of the dysentery, as we know. So here I am passing the number of the estimator means I have to pass the total number of the dysentery. Now it is clear. So what would be the size I have to pass over here? Number of the estimator. Can anyone tell me right now what is the size I must part of the dysentery? I have passed 90 previously, but if you want to update, so please you can update. Tell me what would be the size I have to pass or I must pass.
So let it be 90 only.
90 only, no issue.
No,
So
sir.
Okay, if you want to update, then you can update. You can update from 1 to 4,000 because total number of the data we have the 4,000. So you can give anyone the range, so no issue, we can get it. If you want to update, then you can update. So I've taken only 98, but if you want to give, suppose I'm given the 500. Okay, so you can we can pass, no issue. Just tell me right now what value I must give. Any random value you can give me. Do you?
100.
100. Okay, so I'm going with the 100 as per the student's request. So next we have the criteria. Criteria means we have to pass the entropy. So of course, as we know in the descent tree, we have to pass the entropy of Guinea. So we can pass the Guinea or index depend upon the requirement. So, but what is the this entropy? Because we need to determine the impurity of the descent tree. So that's why the criteria we have to pass the entropy, or we can pass the entropy. So when we are passing the entropy, then we will get the impurity. Okay, and if you passing the or we can pass the Guinea, so okay, we will get the Guinea index. So depend on the entropy, what we are the criteria we are passing. Maximum depth you can get the 8, or you can get the any value whatever you want to get. So I'm updating this value, I'm giving the 50. So maximum depth of the our my node should be the 50. So I'm changing some parameter over here. So maximum depth means I'm talking about the level of the tree or nodes are expanded until all leaves are pure. So this is the point you have to keep in mind. So we are passing all these points. So after preparing this point, now my model will be built by using the RFC classifier objects. Okay, that is by choosing this one. So I will fit my model. So now we need to fit our model by applying the uh, fit model on the training data set. So what is the training data set? X-train and Y-train. So here I'm passing. So after this point, my message will be printed. The message will be printed. Random forest classifier model is built. Let me execute this code. Yes. So I got a message. Random forest classifier model is built because I printed over here. It means there is no issue. There is no problem exist into the my this code so far. Now, after building this model, we need to predict, because what is the our process of the machine learning? We have to predict our model based on the testing data, because predicted values and testing values, that is actual testing values, we can get the accuracy score. That is the reason we have to predict what is the prediction we are getting and what is the actual things we have. So based on these two parameters, we can get the accuracy. So we need to predict the model by using the testing data set. So I need to pass the X test, and by applying the predictive model method on the RF by choosing the RFC object. So my variable name is by prediction RFC. So I'm giving it like this one. And here I'm printing the actual values of the testing data of the RFC. For the RFC, RFC is a random forest classifier. And predicted values I'm printing over here. So what I'm getting the by, I need to pass the Y test and by prediction RFC. So I need to print the size of the RFC. It will showing to us the size of the by prediction should be equal to the testing. Of course, it should be, but we need to check only just our randomness. We are checking this one. So let me execute this code. Yeah. So we are getting the actual values. You can observe over here, and parallelly we are printing the. See, this is our actual value. So please keep in mind this is my highlighted point. This is determining the parallel actual values of our testing data. And I'm highlighting this point. So this is the value which is known as the predicted values. So there is a difference between the predicted value and actual values. So you can observe over here. First, we are getting the 9398 is female. So female we are getting. Then we are getting the male and then female. So first we are getting the female, okay, which is matching. Next we are getting the male, and then we are getting the male in the predicted. But actually, in the actual way we have the female. So it means there are differences between the predicted values and testing values. So when we are getting some differences, it means we have some error. So we need to determine the actual things by putting the accuracy point. And size we are getting the 4,000. So we are getting the exact size. So no issue. So we will say it is a perfect thing we are getting. So what we have done so far, we have prepared the data set and we have built the model that is a random forest classifier, and we build the we have to predict our model by passing the testing parameter. So now we have built our model. It's time to measure the performance of the model. So what is the our performance of the model we can measure? Three things we have seen: confusion matrix, accuracy score, and classification reports. So classification report you can add over here to see your model performance, or it is better idea to you can just choose only the one parameter, that is accuracy score, by which you can evaluate the model. But I have already seen all these things and we have already seen all these things, so I have implemented here all the things. But it is an option, but if you want to use all the things, I can use. So from the matrix library under the sklearn package, I'm using the confusion matrix, accuracy score, and classification reports methods. So confusion matrix, here I'm passing the confusion matrix, and then confusion matrix I have to pass the two parameter, y test and y prediction. It means actual parameter and predicted parameters. In the accuracy score, I have to pass the same parameter, and a classification report I have to pass the same parameters. But accuracy score will give the rate values from the 0 to 1 only. So to check its what would be the accuracy, so I'm just multiplying for just determining from the 100 and out of the 100. And classification report will display the recall, accuracy, F1 score, and other parameters. So we have used this one, that is the classification report. I'm executing this code. Now everything will be in front of you. So what is the accuracy you are getting? You are getting the accuracy that is a 90.85. Please keep in mind this is the accuracy of the random forest classifier. We are getting the 90.85. Now it is clear. Are you getting the accuracy? It is clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So this is the implementation of the random forest classifier. Now, any doubt or any problem you need to ask right now? So please, you can ask me any question right now. How to create the model of the random forest classifier? It is clear, or anyone who need to ask any question?
Clear, sir.
Okay, good, great. Now it's time to use the different thing, but here I'm writing the some important terms which are required to please go through this point. While discussing this topic, a student asked me the question, sir, you have chosen the height and weight. You have chosen the height and weight as a features on which you are predicting the gender. I said yes. Then he asked me the another question, sir, there is a guarantee you have chosen the height and weight feature which are appropriate features you have chosen? That was a great question he asked me. But I asked, okay, we have a very limited number of the features, so we have opted the height and weight. There is only. So he asked me another question, sir. There is a guarantee every time we will keep only limited amount of the features. We can have the many features, or we can have the many columns. So which columns we must choose as a our important features to determine your model? That was a good question. So definitely when we have the 20 or 25 columns, something, we suppose more than a 10 or 20 columns we have, because a database can have, or data set can have the many columns, no issue. Suppose I have the more than 10 columns, then which columns I must choose as our independent variable? That is the important point. Suppose I have chosen the some random columns I have chosen, but what was my problem? What was my problem? That is the thing. I'm getting the 100% accuracy. Suppose I'm getting the 95% accuracy. I'm getting the 95% accuracy. Then I will be happy. Okay, I have chosen the right columns. Then I'm getting the 95 accuracy. Maybe you have chosen the wrong columns, or your model is undercome into the fitting, overfitting. It could be the underfitting if you're getting the less accuracy. So there is no guarantee the columns we have chosen as our perfect columns we have chosen as our independent variable. So here we have a very simple parameter by which we can determine which would be the our important columns or features. So we have to choose appropriately. But we have a very limited amount right now, so no issue at a time. But while building the actual project, we have to keep in mind this code here. So overfitting is just like just simple. We can say we have a tea, 1 cup of the tea, and we have to add one sugar, one teaspoon sugar. no issue. But you're adding the 6 or 8 teaspoon sugar, then what happened? Your tea will be bitter rather than the sweetener. So from this case, this overfitting just feels or just treated like this one. So if you don't have any single any teaspoon in your sugar teaspoon sugar in your tea, then you will feel this is tasteless because we don't know what is the taste. But you're adding more and more teaspoon or sugar after teaspoon, then again what happened? You are not feeling, you are not tasting as a sweetener rather than the bitter. You're tasting a sweet bitter rather than the sweetener. That is a big problem. So overfitting feels like this one. So what we have done, we have used the small code over here, this one. So we have to import, we have to use, not import, we can say we have to use important columns to remove or to avoid the overfitting, and we can say underfitting. That is the point. So here we have to use a series method, basically the series method, in which I have to pass the features, and this feature importance is the name of the variable, and that is used by the random forest classifier we can use. So RFC is the name of the object by which I'm using the feature importance is variable, that is the public variable I'm using, and that is under come into the our RFC classifier library. Index, I need to pass the index equal to x dot column. So x is our important variable, x is our independent variable we have chosen. But these are the really good or important our features we have chosen. So we have to check its feature important, we can say we have to determine the feature importance compatibility value, and that is known as the feature importance compatibility values. So let us calculate all these things. So feature importance is the name of the variable, that is a public variable of the random forest classifier, and that can be accessible by its objects only. So that is the RFC we have to use. X dot column is the height and weight will display only here because we have the two columns only. But we have the multiple columns, then we can get the all the its values. What is the values? What is the value of the feature compatibility? So let us execute this code. So I'm using its variable name, storing all the information in the variable name, that is a fee underscore important. And PD is the object of the my pandas library. So by choosing that library, I have to use another method, that is the series method. Now, after this point, let me print these values. Let me print this values, that is fee underscore important. So what it will contain? So it describes the here weight is more important rather than the weight is more important feature rather than the height. But how you can say? Let me show the my proof. This one. So height is just containing approx value 0.35, 6.3, or we can say the 35% I can assume. And weight is just representing the 64%. It means approx 64%. So we can say what we are getting. It means weight is more important variable rather than the height variable, or we can say more important features. So weight should be there in your part, but we have only the two features, that is the height and weight, so we can understand the thing practically. But when we're dealing with the many columns at a time, this will stand a big problem. So for removing such thing, for avoiding the overfitting underfitting, we have to choose the appropriate variable so we can get the model accuracy in better way. So that is only point. So let me show the my thing proof by the help of the graphical way. So by choosing the SNS, that is the SNS is the name of the object of the Seaborn library. Seaborn is another advanced graphics library in the Python programming, by which we can display the information. So I'm using the bar plot. In the bar plot, I'm passing the fee important parameter as x, and by will contain the index values of the our fee and fee important variable. So here in the index, fee important index will contain the two parts. One is the height and weight, and x value will contain the fee important, so which describe the values, and that is represented by the its in very important values. So height was the 35% something, 35% something, and weight was the 64% something. So with the visualization mode, you can easily say weight is more important feature rather than the height. But very truly speaking, we have very limited columns over here, so no issue about that part. But we are dealing with the use list of the column more than the 10 or 12 or something, the 15, At the time we have to choose the appropriately. So this code is clear right now. Why we have used this code? Tell me right now.
Clear, sir.
Because this code is much applicable while building the real project and which feature you have to choose. So that's why I have added this code over here. Now come to the point. AdaBoost. AdaBoost stands for the adaptive boosting, and boosting means bootstrap aggregating. So unlike we have many classifiers, so like the random forest classifier, we have to use the AdaBoost classifier inside the ensemble. So we have to do nothing. Just we have to see the what are the parameter we have to pass, like we have passed in the random forest classifier. So ABC is I'm giving its name. That is the ABC is the name of the my object, and that is AdaBoost classifier is the name of the my classifier. Here I need to pass the number of the estimator. So in the our random forest classifier, we have passed the 100. So I'm passing the 100 classifier only. Okay. It's a choice whatever you want to pass, but same parameter I have to pass to check the performance in better way, which model will be better. Now, base estimator is another parameter. I'm passing nothing. So I'm written here none. But if you want to pass the uh, any other parameter, then you can pass. So descent tree classifier you can pass, extra tree classifier are the different parameter you can pass. So your AdaBoost classifier will work like a descent tree classifier, or your functionality will work like a extra tree classifier. So you can pass any kind of the parameter as a base estimator. So I'm passing nothing. So it will assume automatically descent tree. So by default, it will assume the base estimator as a descent tree classifier. So no need to about that part. And learning rate is basically shrink the contribution of each classifier by learning rate. So there is a trade-off between the learning rate and a number of the estimators. So it means there will be some values that deals or that makes a relationship between the number of the estimators and learning rate. So learning rate you can assume any values from 0 to 1 only. So what you want to find, you can assume anything. So I'm assuming just like 0.7. So if you want to use anything, you can use. So learning rate basically just a trade-off between the number of the estimator and learning rate. So what is saying to us? It means learning rate is mostly used to avoid the our errors, or we can't remove the any error by the learning rate, but we can avoid the error. So if you remember the biases in the neural network, what is the biases? Biases used to minimize the error in our neural network. So same thing, the learning rate will use to minimize the error in the our this model, that is a AdaBoost classifier. So we can pass the learning rate, but it's optional. But if you want to pass, then you can pass. A random state, if you want to take as a one, whatever the value you want to take, you can take any random state. So this is the point. So controls the random seed or node given at the each base estimator at each boosting iteration. So there is only we can say it is only used when base estimator expose a random state. So random state, if you want to take the 5, suppose if you want to take the 5, you can you can take. After passing this parameter, these are the some parameter are optional, some parameter are not optional. So but if you're not passing anything, so but minimum you have to pass the number of the estimator. So this is option, this is not optional. After creating the object of the AdaBoost classifier, we have to fit the model toward the training data. So I'm not changing anything, I'm just building the model by using the fit model. Why? By fit method. So now my model will be built, that is the AdaBoost classifier. Let me execute this code in front of you, and now you can easily see. Now I got my message that is a AdaBoost classifier model is built. So it means I mean to say that over here. Now I have the AdaBoost classifier model is built. It means now I have built my model, that is AdaBoost classifier. Same process I have been applied with the AdaBoost classifier as we have seen the random forest classifier. So prediction I have to do by choosing the testing data I am doing right now. And now we have prepared the data set, built the model, and tested our model. Now same parameter I have to pass: confusion matrix, accuracy score, and classification report. Just only we have to update its a variable name, that is a by prediction AB is the name of the variable which keeps the predicted information as we have seen in the our cell number 18. You can see, observe over here. and we need to pass these values and we have to see what we are getting. So if you remember the random forest classifier, we are getting the accuracy 90.85, 90.85. But in this case, we are getting the accuracy score 91.5. Now, it is clear right now? It is visible to all? How we are building our model, AdaBoost and random forest classifier. So these are the our different ensemble learning based models. Now we have prepared. Tell me right now, it is clear? Or anyone who need to ask any question?
Clear.
In the Python programming, what is the beauty of the models we have? We have to use the appropriate class and we have to pass the parameter and we have to apply the data set and we have to check what we are getting. And what parameter we have to update? So just change the parameter and see the result. So that would be your thing. It will be the part of the practice. So just use the code and change the parameter and see the result, and definitely you will get the better result while passing the different parameters. So that would be the learning. Now after completion of this point, now as per the our this point, we have implemented that one point. Implementation of the random forest classifier and implementation of the AdaBoost classifier we have implemented. Let us compare this model with our existing model. So what are our existing model? Decentric classifier, logic regression, support vector machine, and KNN. So from the tree library, from the sklearn package, I'm repeating once again, sklearn package will be common for all the machine learning model. So from the tree library, I'm importing the decentric classifier. From the linear model library, I'm using the logistic regression, and from the SVM, I'm using the SBC, that is support vector classifier. And from the neighbors, I'm using the K neighbors classifier, and I'm creating this refresh respectively object LR, DTC, SVM, and KNN by passing the different parameter. So maximum depth, if you remember, the I have passed 50 in the random forest classifier, so same I'm passing over here. Number of neighbor, I'm increasing number of neighbor 500. Okay, no issue, we can pass. And metrics, I'm using the Euclidean, so we can use for the calculating distance. And logic regression, I'm not passing any parameter, and support vector classifier, I'm not passing any parameter. So let us execute this code and let me execute now. By LR variable, that is our logic regression object name, we will fit the model toward the training data set. So I'm fitting my model. Now it means I'm building my model. Now in the decentric classifier, DTC is the name of the variable of the object, so we can choose this one, and we have to pass this parameter training I'm passing. So my decentric classifier will be built. You can easily check over here. Now as we are getting the support vector machine, so training data I need to pass, I'm passing over here. Now I'm getting the support vector machine classifier is also prepared. Now you can observe over here, I'm passing the X and Y. I'm not passing the X trend by trend. Can you tell me right now why I'm not passing the training data in the K nearest neighbor algorithm? We have to pass the entire data set. Why? Can anyone tell me right now? Tell me, this is the question.
Maybe sir, the more samples the model get, the more generalized it will be.
But it is already explained while learning the KNN model. We have to pass the entire data set because the testing data set is not required in the KNN. We have to use entire data set as the training the building the model. So we have to pass the X and Y rather than the passing the training data. So that is the only reason. It is the pros of the our KNN algorithm. So I'm passing the entire data set. Please keep in mind next time. Do not forget it. So my model is built towards the equivalent distance matrix and number of the neighbor 500 as I have been passed this parameter. So I need to get the predicted variables over here. So by prediction LR, by prediction DCTC, by prediction SVM, and by prediction KNN, I got it over here. So by passing the predictor, by using the predictive model, predictive method, respectively, each and every data models objects I need to pass. And rather than the passing the X text into the KNN model, I'm passing the entire data set in terms of the X. That is the point, because testing data is not applicable over here, and I'm getting the predicted. Yeah, my prediction variable are generated over here. So actual values of the testing data, that would be the by testing, and actual value, predictive value of the LR, predictive value of the DTC, predictive value of support vector machine, and predictive values of the KNN. Let me print, and predictive values of the random forest and predictive values of adder boost. What I'm getting. So let me show them my proof. Now you can see actual values of the testing data set. We have this one. We got it. And this point, if you remember, we have already seen few couple of the minutes ago. 93398 female and 2021 male and female. But predicted values by the logic regression, we are getting this one. Predicted values by the dysentery, we are getting this one. Predicted values by the support vector classifier, we are getting this one. Predicted values by the KNN, we are getting all these values. And predicted values of random forest and adder boost, we are getting respectively. So we can print all these things when we have the limited amount of data. But when we are dealing with the 10,000 data, so how we can display all the things over here? But testing data set is size, we have the 4,000. So 4,000 data will not applicable over here to display entire data set in a one part. So here dotted means we have the more and more information, but we are displaying only the limited amount of the information only. So it is better idea to let us display the accuracy of the everything, so we can get the everything properly. So what I did right now, what I did very simple way, by choosing the accuracy score from the matrix library, from the sklearn package, of course, undoubtedly. Logic accuracy is our variable which keeps the logic regression models accuracy, and we have the respectively DTC accuracy, support vector machine, and KNN accuracy to get the accuracy of the each and everything properly. So again, I'm just remind you all, I need not to pass the byte test inside the KNN accuracy variable. I have to pass the only the entire data set that is belong to the our by variable, or that is our target variable we have used. So actual values we can say for the KNN. And RFC, I'm also printing the its accuracy by choosing the by prediction RFC. So of course, remember this variable we have already prepared a few minutes ago. By prediction RFC and by prediction AV. And I'm printing all these values. I'm printing all these values. So you can just tell me which model is better on this data set. Now you can get the accuracy in front of you. You can get in random forest classifier. We were getting the accuracy 90.85, and adder boost models we are getting the accuracy 91.5. But from the logic regression accuracy, we are getting the 92.07 accuracy, and dysentery classifier we are getting the accuracy 87.87. And support vector machine model, I'm getting 90.35, and KNN model, I'm getting the 91. The small amount data set or large volume of data set, then logic regression model for the classification model will be always better, because logic regression model is giving the better accuracy, that is 92.07. So this is the thing. Logic random forest classifier also important, adder boost model classifier also important, but we have to keep in mind we are getting the accuracy of the our 6 models over here in a different way. Why? Because each and every model has own paradigm, but which model is applicable where? So it depends on the data set, depends on the requirement. We can apply the, we can use the our model towards the our problem. So logic regression is giving the better accuracy here. Now it is clear right now. Is it visible to all? The accuracy we are getting the logic regression is better than the others. It is clear right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just I'm changing something over here as per the other students requirement. But if you want, so please tell me right now here, what is the testing size I must keep over here? Testing size, I have the 40, so I'm getting something over here. There is a guarantee every time we will get the high accuracy by the logic regression, will get the high accuracy every time. So let us check this thing once again. So could you update this testing data size right now? Could you update and tell me what should I keep the size? You can reduce, you can extend. Just tell me what would be the size of the testing I must keep right now. Let me update. Just can anyone tell me right now?
0.2.
0.2, it means 20%, so no issue. And let me execute this code in front of you. I'm just executing all the code once again, and after a couple of the seconds you will able to see the accuracy. Now see, now we got the accuracy. Accuracy of the logic regression 90.8, dysentery 87, and support vector machine 90.4, and KNN 91.5, and random forest 89, and at a boost 91. So you can observe over a KNN model is giving the high accuracy right now. That is 91. So there is no guarantee every time logic regression will give the better accuracy. So everything is depend on the number of the data set. Everything is depend on the number of the parameter what we have been passed. So it's depend on the data set size, it depend on the thing. So there are many models by which you can say, but overall conclusion, if you study after learning the many classifier, when you read an article over the internet, then you will find logic regression will be better and easy model for the classify your data. But there is no guarantee, but logic regression will be always better, because now you can see it is 90.8, that is very close to the 91%. So very close to the 91%. So KNN model we can say which are also giving the 91%. So every time there is no guarantee we can get the same accuracy. Now let me extend the accuracy and then let me show the my proof. Let me extend to something over here, and let me show the my proof once again. I'm extending it's suppose I'm getting the 45% testing. Let me execute now. Let me execute all these codes in front of you, and then you can see after the few couple of the second you will able to see. Now see, now you can see logic regression giving the high accuracy. So why? Because now we have the update data. So when we are having the good volume of data set for the training part or testing part. So when we are working on the testing data size, when we have the good volume, then our accuracy will be better in terms of the logic regression, and logic regression will be better than the others model. So everything is part of the data set. Everything is a part of the our training data set or test or training data set or testing data set, because everything is depend on the data set size. So when we are working with the small amount data set, there is no guarantee we will get the good accuracy. But when we work with the good volume of the data set, then we can get the thing properly. And I always suggested to people, keep in mind, just keep the testing data size in good volume, but that should be lesser than the training data set. That is the point. So is it clear to all right now, or anyone who need to ask any question right now? So please you can ask.